As we saw in the last video, when you multiply more than two numbers at a time, new rules have to be, or you have to think about the rules differently. We ended the last video with the idea that if you count the negative signs, an odd number of negatives makes a negative, an even number of negatives makes a positive. And so that impacts what we're doing if we say, for example, 2 times negative 6 squared. Well, following Graham-Doss, we need to do the exponent first, and a negative number raised to an even power gives us a positive, and then we multiply across and we get 72. If I said, however, 2 times negative 6 squared, I need to do the grouping symbols first, and I get negative 12 squared equals 144. This carries over into when we are evaluating expressions that have negatives and positives. We always need to remember to follow Graham-Doss, and we need to keep our rules for these exponents in place as well. So let's say that x equals 3 and y equals negative 2. Actually, I'm going to go to the next. X equals 3 and y equals negative 2. Let's look at some permutations of what you might see and how you have to be able to tell the difference. If I say xy squared, following Graham-Doss, I need to do the exponent first because this y is what's being raised to the second power. Before anything, though, in my class you need to show replacement, which means where you see x, you plug in or substitute 3. Where you see y, you substitute negative 2. And now, when you show replacement, Graham-Doss seems much more obvious. A negative number raised to an even power gives a positive, and so 3 times 4 equals 12. If, on the other hand, I say xy squared, because there's something going on inside, that makes these grouping symbols. So now, when I show replacement, I can see that it is negative 6 squared, which is positive 36. On the other hand, if I say x to the third y, actually, let's make that x times y to the third. What I plug in for x is 3. What I plug in for y is negative 2 to the third. Once again, we have to go to the exponent. A negative number raised to an odd power is negative. So that makes this negative 8, this positive 3. That equals negative 24. What if I said 2 times x times y to the second? That would be 2 times 3 times negative 2 to the second power. When I do the exponent, I get 4 times 3 times 2, which is 24. You get the idea. Remember, whenever you're evaluating, you need to show replacement. That means plug it in. Replacement. Okay, I'm out of room. Show replacement, and then follow Graham-Doss. If you do that, you should be all set.